Greetings, everyone. Welcome to COS today. Nice to have Ken back with me this evening. How you doing, Ken?
Good to be back. I could be a little better. I'm a little under the weather, but you're already making me feel at home. So you have to
Yeah.
pardon my scratchy voice today.
No problem. No problem. Ken had a business emergency come up last week, so he couldn't be with us on the very first broadcast of the year. But now he's back, so we're getting going here. Once again, COS today for 2026, saving the country with Convention of States. That's what we're all about this year. So, welcome aboard, everyone. Just very quickly, some of the topics that we're going to be touching on tonight. Going to be talking a little bit about Greenland, a little bit about sanctuary cities. We're going to touch on military might. Going to touch on the Board of Peace in Gaza. And we got a good presentation on socialism tonight. So a lot of good topics. And I want to get Ken. Let's just jump right into it now and into our first segment of the evening, and that's our In Focus segment. And our first guest that I want to bring on is new to our program, and that's Deanna Beckett, one of our COS regional directors. Deanna, tell everybody, what region do you have?
We have the Wild West region, and that includes Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, the Dakotas, both of them, North and South, and Nebraska and Kansas.
Nebraska and Kansas. Wow. Okay. Very good. Glad to have you tonight, Deanna. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Certainly.
And here we have Miss Debbie Stewart. Hello, Debbie.
Hi.
And another regular that we have from time to time here is Brett Sturley. You're muted, Brett.
I thought that's the way that you like me. Good evening, everybody.
Turn your volume up just a tad if you could.
All right.
All right.
How's that?
All right. Good. All right. Let's in this segment, in the In Focus segment, we don't have anything prepared, but we bring everybody together here and we just talk about what's on your mind, what's got your focus, what in the world. I mean, there's nothing. I know there's very little going on in our world, so I know you probably had to search a great deal to find something to talk about tonight. But Deanna, I know you've got an interesting take on this tonight, so I'm going to let you lead off and tell what's on your mind, okay?
Well, that's good because I'm sure the rest of everybody's going to be talking about what's in the news, what's on TV. And before Christmas break, I think it was actually before Thanksgiving break, I shut the TV off. I got to a point where I was just tense and that yucky feeling again. I don't know if you guys get that, but
I think we've all experienced that.
You guys get pretty relaxed when you seem pretty relaxed when you're talking about the news stuff. It's very serious. When I saw what was coming across the emails, I'm like, man, you guys are serious stuff.
Yeah.
mine's lightweight, so I'm going to bring it light, and then you guys can get serious, I guess.
Okay.
But my topic is, since we're in the new year, a lot of people set resolutions. A lot of people set new goals. I have, for the past, I want to say a good 7 years, chosen a word for the year, and typically set goals, not resolutions, but just, changes that I want to do, a direction. Maybe it's a New Year's direction instead of a New Year's resolution. But I choose a word and I choose a Bible verse that goes along with it. And I'd love to share that. And it preempts what I've been working on, aside from supporting my teams in all of those states that I mentioned, and prepping them prepping me more likely, because I've got state directors who have been with us for 6, 8, 10, 12 years. And we've got a lot of longevity in our region. And
that is long. That you have state directors that have been in place that long, really?
Yep. Our newest state director is maybe 6 months old. And from there it goes I think 3 or 4 years, all the way to 6, 8, 10, 11. Yeah,
Wow.
it's amazing. So I'm actually, I get told what to do. So they tell me what to do, and I go, all right, let's do that. But anyway, so I wanted to share that. So my word for 2026 I chose is lift. And Psalm 146:8, the last half of it, so I have to say 146:8b, says, "The Lord lifts up those who are bowed down, and the Lord loves the righteous." And I went to a church service about 3 weeks ago, or I go to church almost regularly, but about 3-4 weeks ago. There was a verse that, or a topic that came in there, and I took it to myself. It says, "I am a slave to righteousness," because there's so much corruption, there's so much garbage, there's so much ick and swampiness all over our nation. And those of us that follow righteousness are going to come on top. And I think this is going to be a great year for Convention of States. So I looked up the word shine, because that's part of my book subtitle, which I'll get to in just a bit. But the word shine in Hebrew means this, and this is where I kind of pulled the word lift out of. And you can steal this, you can use this for your own, because that's the whole goal, is to bring a little bit more light and lift everybody out of that miry clay that we kind of get stuck in. So this is what shine means in Hebrew: happiness, bright, cheerfulness, to be light, cause to shine forth. Carry up, cast up, climb up, come up, bring up, spring up, stir up, lift up, bubble up, rejoice, shout, and my favorite, to glitter. Now, I don't think that was a word in Hebrew, but it converted to glitter. So that's where I got my word lift. And just hearing those words, didn't that just make you go, didn't it make your eyes? That's exactly what I wanted it to do. And like I told Brett and Ken before the recording started, I'm going to do a shameless plug of what I have been working on. In 2019, I started noodling some ideas, some chapters, some thoughts for my second book, because my first book I launched in, I can't remember, 2017, 2018. So I had all these notes. I started to type some stuff, and you know where everything went, 2021, and kind of led down that rabbit trail and got into the miry, and came on full-time staff with Convention of States, and just kind of let it lead me. And back in May of 25, I went, I think I need to go back and look at my notes. And I reviewed them and went, I can finish this book this year. It's not an election year. I can do this, because the year before there was no way. And so I figured out, I had already laid out a title, because I had secured the website, and I created my subtitle, and knew what the cover was going to be. And so on February 2nd, which we were talking about, Debbie's going to be on doing a topick on February 2nd. That is my launch date for my second book, called Shocking Your Shtick. And shtick is not SCHTICK, like a lot of people think it's SHTICK. And so if you want to check it out and get in on the early release of stuff, you can go to shockingyourshtick.com. Shtick is SHTICK. And check out what it's all about. But its subtitle is 99 Ways to Shine with People. So again, it's all that bright cheerfulness, lifting up, bubbling up, cast up, climb up, come up, carry up, all the up, and bringing basic common sense, which, you know, we probably think of, yeah, I do this all the time. But there might be some things in there that you go, oh, I never thought of it that way. I should probably be doing that.
You know, Deanna, I'm already thinking, I think we ought to have you come back on. We'll wait till after the launch, but have you come back on and just do a whole segment on your book.
I can do that.
Because I think this is it's nice to hear this, given everything that's going on in the country right now. It's nice to hear something like this. You agree, Ken? I think we ought to bring her on.
I think we can get her to come on and
If,
talk about the book and read a couple segments out of it to give us all a better idea.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about, setting our mind so it stays up and stays
All right.
shining, so we don't get drugged down.
Okay. Well, let's plan on that. All right, Deanna, that's a deal.
Absolutely.
All right. Good deal. Sounds great. Great. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, just encourage you to stay, just stay on the high level of the news. Don't get caught up, drugged down, and stay positive for your teams, because if we don't, nobody else is going to.
Yep. Okay. All right. Debbie Stewart,
Here.
what is on your mind?
Yeah, so I talked a while ago. We split up the I think it was what did we do the end of the month with the roundtable? We
Yeah.
talked about the Trump's 20-point peace plan for Gaza. And so part of that plan was he talked about he was going to, of course, he made himself the head of the Board of Peace. He's the head of that, but he has this Board of Peace he's going to put together with some world leaders, important world leaders and things like that. Well, he just said this last week, I think it was maybe on an airplane Friday, Saturday, Thursday, somewhere in there, that this week he should be announcing who those individuals will be. And so, and it's in preparation because next week, the World Economic Forum meets in Davos, Switzerland for their normal yearly meeting of these world leaders. And they think that it's projected that these leaders will all be there, and then they would then be able to have some side meetings while they're there at Davos. So that's kind of like the goal. But he's come out and said that. So we know that just country-wise, we're looking at Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey. It sounds like the UK, Italy, France. What were some of the other ones here? I said that. Germany. But also they are some of the people that are working for Trump have also said that they think he may be getting into some multinational organizations or institutions, like the World Bank might have a seat. The World Economic Forum might have a seat, the International Monetary Fund, and that kind of changes things a little bit. It's not just world leaders from nations.
Yeah.
They don't have land. They have these technocrat goals. Go ahead.
How many seats are places are involved in this board?
I've heard 12 to 15 is kind of the numbers that have been thrown around there. Trump would be one of those. There's another man. His name is, sorry, I'm finding his name here. Oh, yeah. So his name is Nikolai Maldonov, and he met with Benjamin Netanyahu. He's a Bulgarian politician and diplomat, and he was the former UN envoy, I think. But he's going to kind of head this up under Trump. And of course, we know Tony Blair is supposed to be involved in this too.
Yeah.
He had said that way back in the fall.
Now, does this? Sometimes I get really confused on this. Does this board, is it connected to the peacekeeping group that's supposed to be? Isn't there supposed to be a peacekeeping group formed as well?
There's going to be an international board. This one is supposed to kind of take over the interim governance of that region.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so the hope is that you get all these major players from these major nations. And then, of course, we have some other, like the WEF, and I don't know whether that's a good idea, not the IMF in there. They're supposed to be able to come up with a good governance system that would start going. And then hopefully when they bring those Palestinians and those other people in that are not related to Hamas and other things, they would be able to take over that governance structure and carry it on.
Okay.
So that's kind of the thought. And they're pretty sure that he's going to name out. One of the White House people said that the invitations were going out this week to those leaders and that they should be announced, I would think, by the end of this week at the latest, if they're going to be meeting in Davos next week.
Okay.
So we'll find out what that is. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu met with Trump and he said he agreed to move into the second phase, but they still have not returned that last body.
There's one more. I was kind of surprised to hear that. I thought they had all been accounted for, but
Yeah.
yes, there's one more body, right?
Yeah. And the original agreement was within 72 hours.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah.
been months, but they said that the weather it's been raining like crazy for the last couple of weeks. So they had to halt looking for this body and that they were going to resume again last Monday on the 5th. And I haven't heard that they found that body since. Just one soldier left.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm surprised that there aren't more, quite honestly, given, no telling where some of these bodies, what's on top of them by now. But
Right. I mean, they've gotten all the other ones. It's just the one left.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so we ought to be hearing something this week, who those people are, and then we'll cement some stuff. And next week, I'm sure we'll get kind of the lowdown on what happens when those people meet.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Good. All right.
That's it.
Mr. Brett.
Yes, sir.
I understand you wanted to talk about military might tonight.
Well, I was kind of fascinated by obviously the news about Venezuela being in being in the news the last week. I guess that what that raid was like 8 days ago on Sunday, I believe. And there's been some other accounts that have come out about this, and I think it just is really, really, really amazing. And I think we've talked in the past with some of the technological advances and the expertise, like with Mossad, the Israeli secret police. Whenever we went over and bombed the nuclear sites there in Iran, that was one thing that Mossad had gone through, and they were actually in country. And softened up some of these targets and some of the air defenses, and I thought it was funny because on the Iranian Republican Guard's Twitter page or X page, whatever it's called now, they had put a tweet that they had hit that they had launched a rocket and hit a Mossad target in Israel, and Mossad actually got on there and responded back and like, well, that's awfully nice. Nobody's there. We're here in your country. And posted a picture of them there launching drones in Iran. So, and then you had the thing, with Mossad. Whenever I think it was Hezbollah was changing their communication medium from cell phones to pagers because their cell phones were all being tracked. And so then Mossad set up a shell company to basically, and they sold these pagers to Hezbollah, but they also put a little bit of some C4 explosive in the pagers, and they detonated all of them at one time and took out some some terrorists that way. All that was just amazing. But I think that what apparently we did in Venezuela, to me, is on a whole nother level.
It's amazing. It is truly amazing, isn't it?
It's incredible. And I read this account from a Venezuelan soldier that was in country, and he was describing exactly what happened the night of the raid. And he said that they were, just business as usual. They're just watching everything. And then all of a sudden, all their radar systems went down across the country. And incidentally, these radar systems were sold to them by the Chinese Communist government. And oddly enough, earlier that day, some officials from the Chinese Communist government actually landed in Venezuela. So they were actually here in country.
Yeah.
So these radar systems went down. And then they said that that these that they got hit with some type of weapon. It sounds like it was some type of sonic weapon of some sort, but they said that it disabled the troops, and a lot of the troops that protect that military compound there in Venezuela, Maduro's compound, are Cuban communist trained troops or Russian trained troops from Cuba. And they said that, say this without being too graphic, but they began throwing up blood and they started having nosebleeds and they were completely disabled over this, apparently some type of, like I said, some type of sonic device. And then he said that he observed a handful of attack helicopters fly into the compound, and they kind of started lighting the place up just a little bit and taking out some defensive areas and some threats to the troops and also to the military assets. And then he said that rappelling out of the helicopters were troops, and he said not many, about 20 troops. And he made the comment, we've never faced troops like this. They had technology that was beyond ours. They were firing with such precision that they were taking out all the hard targets. And the person who was interviewing this soldier asked if they fired back, and he said our weapons were useless. I mean, they had no effect, and that in a matter of just a couple hours, they go in, they get Maduro, knew exactly where he was, get Maduro and his wife when they were trying to get into a safe room, stopped them before they got in there, and extracted them, and then they left the country. And other than the helicopters coming in and firing, they wouldn't have known that anybody was there. And I just think that just the level of the technological advanced technology that we have in our military is incredible. And this really does kind of reset the global balance of power. President Trump is doing it, and I think that this is going to have a bigger effect on China, with Taiwan, with Iran. I think you've seen some things. I think over the weekend, a lot of the Democrat leaders, Chuck Schumer, AOC, even Mamdani in New York City, started tweeting about, oh, Hamas is a terrorist organization. No, we don't support terrorism. All of a sudden, this is a complete 180 from what they the way that they have behaved.
Yeah, I think there's a message being sent around the world. Definitely, I think even Iran is, if I heard correctly, Iran is even talking about talking to us or negotiating or something.
No, absolutely, and I think that with the Democrats coming out and changing their tune on Hamas and not supporting terrorism, and well, at least in a few tweets anyway, I think that really kind of puts in perspective how close Iran is to falling. And I mean, it's pretty amazing. I think that President Trump probably already, through the Abraham Accords and all the peace treaties and the wars that he stopped, the conflicts he stopped in 2025, I'd say post World War II, he's probably our most accomplished foreign policy president. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But I just think that, our military might and the proficiency of which and the expertise of our military, is just amazing. We just thank God for them.
Yeah, that's for sure. This kind of I know, Ken, you and I, we only have a few more minutes left here in this segment, but the military might thing kind of plays into what I wanted to just what I've been looking at, and that's this Greenland thing again. Here comes and I don't know. I think the focus on Greenland has now changed, given what we did in Venezuela. I might also mention that our roundtable is coming up this month on the 26th, the fourth Monday of every month, and our topic's going to be Greenland. So we're going to be talking about that, and I've already just looked at the outline for that roundtable session that John, our host, published, and Greenland. They've passed some legislation that gives them the right to choose who they want to be associated with. So this is a little different. I think it's a different situation now, not only given the Venezuela thing, but I'm learning a little bit more about what's going on in Greenland. So that's kind of got my focus. As well as, of course, what's going on in Minnesota and all the protesting. And I thank goodness Deanna brought some uplifting things to us tonight. But boy, I tell you, you watch this stuff on TV, if you're just like me, it can really drag you down. What's going on? You got anything, Ken, or is that something you want?
I was just a quick comment on what you're talking about with Greenland there. I was listening to an interesting take from a general who said that we've been trying to purchase Greenland for a long time. It goes way back.
Yes, I just heard that too.
Yeah, but he went on to say that we actually don't have to purchase it. I know it might be a negotiating tactic, but we don't actually have to purchase it. We could actually set up military segments on the island, and just like it was done for World War II, and get the same results basically we're looking for there. So just found that to be interesting.
Ken, you're going to have to explain this to me. I'm looking at the number of comments that we've had.
Yeah.
We're at 71. We've never had that many comments.
Well, we've got a couple people that are, I think that they were on a private chat or something like that. And
really?
I've been having to delete a lot of foul language coming across it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a private channel, folks. We do appreciate your comments and questions, but keep it to comments and questions, and not a personal bout between two people. That's what it seems to be. So,
well, I thought maybe Deanna kind of lifted everybody up, and it was really not the case, though, huh?
Yeah, not really. Well, it could be. I think maybe if they sign up to get the book, it might help their comments somewhat.
There you go. Go.
Yeah,
okay.
And that really leads me to just a quick comment on. I didn't have anything really deep, and I appreciate Deanna bringing on a different approach tonight, which we always need more of. But I look at the sad shape of the people that have been, for lack of any better word, brainwashed into acting in ways that are against the law to begin with. But I think these people really could use a good dose of cheerfulness and brightness and some truth before they go out and act. And again, there's nothing against anybody's right to protest, but there's a difference between protesting and obstructing justice. So it's been sad to watch that this all take place, and I don't see any real end to it in the near future. So it's just when you look at the comments of some of these people out there, it's really discouraging in that sense that these people don't have anything brighter or more cheerful in life to lead their life with. So that was my off the cuff tonight. That's what I was thinking about.
We've done segments on COS today about sanctuary cities, about sanctuary policy. We've done segments on ICE and it all. I'm beginning to see it all kind of come together here. ICE is doing what they have no other option to do, because these sanctuary cities won't cooperate with them.
Yeah. When you
they let these people go, these criminals, they let them go back into the community. So ICE has no other option but to go after them where they are.
Yeah, they've created the law. They create the lawlessness, and then shoot back by saying, that that is against the law or against the Constitution. When I've heard this a number of times this week, it's against the Constitution,
right?
To do it, and it goes back to the same old left ideology where you create the chaos, you create the situation, and then you come up with the solution, and there's never been a real solution.
Yeah.
I wonder what percent of the paid protesters now were also part of the paid protesters with Black Lives Matter when that whole George Floyd thing happened too. I mean, so many of these people are not really there because they want to be. They're being paid. It's just such a media thing. It's such a show. Yes, there are people who are protesting, I think, truly with integrity because for whatever perspective they're seeing, it's not right with them. But there's just too much money going in and making things look like they're not. So much deception. It's just sad.
Yep. All right.
One last comment on that Debbie brought to mind. When you listen to our Congresswoman Elon, I heard her say today that why are we spending all this money to come in and investigate fraud, and yet she's in other words, there's fraud, but why are we spending all the money to investigate the fraud when we've already lost billions of dollars from the fraud? It just, there really is no sense to her comments. She really does need to resign.
I love seeing these YouTube clips of daycare center owners having their Lamborghinis repossessed, or their classic, their $1 million cars. Running a daycare center and driving a Lamborghini. I mean, it's just,
we're in the wrong business.
It's just so obvious. All right, folks, that's it for this segment. We're going to wind it up there. Deanna, you come back and tell us how your book launch is coming. Where'd you go? We lost you there. Anyway,
her camera fell.
Hopefully we'll see Deanna again in the near future.
Yeah.
Debbie, Brett, thank you very much. Brett, don't you go very far because you're going to come right back on here. So thanks, folks. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, Brett. Brett. I got Brett on my mind. All right, Ken. That was another good In Focus segment. Always good. So we're going to jump right into this next segment, I should say. And we're going to bring Brett back on here. And Brett's going to talk to us about socialism. So this is another one of those hot topics going on in our country right now. No doubt about it. So let's bring Brett. Hello, Brett, again.
Hello, Dale, again.
Yeah.
Hello.
So, Brett, tell us about socialism in America.
Well, yeah, this unfortunately is a hot topic, and I think I had a conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago when we were talking about why are these people who are calling for socialism, and why are they so stupid? And I'm like, you know what? They're not stupid. They're just ignorant. And ignorant is different from stupid. Stupid is a lack of intelligence. Ignorant is being unaware of truth or facts. And they are just unaware of the legacy of socialism, even to the point to where, we have, Zoran Mamdani is now mayor of the largest city in the United States, New York City. I would argue he's more Marxist than socialist, and which brings up maybe a good place to start. What's the difference here? What is socialism?
Good question. Yeah.
And so here I guess some characteristics of socialism, communism, or Marxism. So socialism in a socialist economy country, private ownership is allowed. So you can own personal property. Now, the caveat there is that the results of private enterprise, like if you have a business, if the revenue you produce, the products you produce, they are to be shared by society. So you can have private ownership, but you don't have personal property per se. And so that's one of the differences. And then also and you don't determine how goods and services and profits are distributed. The government determines that. And the government determines that by saying, basically each according to their means and each according to their needs, from each according to their means and to each according to their needs. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into a little bit more detail on exactly what that means here in a couple examples here in just a second. Now, socialism sets up communism because typically what ends up happening is that at some point in time, there has to be some type of force that's introduced in order to keep everybody in line. And we'll explain that here in a second as well. So communism, there is no individualism in communism. Everyone is a ward of the state. It's you're one person is just the same as someone else. Everyone are interchangeable parts. There's no individual autonomy whatsoever. And then instead of having private ownership like what you have in socialism, because you have the state owns the means of production and also the results of production. And this occurs because at some point in time, people having private property and not being able to enjoy the fruits of their labor, they start misbehaving and they start behaving in ways that get out of control of the state. And so the state has to move in, and that's where you would have people like Castro was walking down the streets of Cuba and looking at this factory and say, okay, well, that's now government property. Or same thing in Venezuela, going back to was it Chavez before Maduro, going through and just like, okay, no, we're going to take over ownership of that factory or that business or this farmland. So basically no free enterprise is allowed in a communist system whatsoever. And then you have Marxism. And Marxism is the most punitive. And in Marxism, the state basically remakes and molds human nature to be in the image of the state. It's there's a saying, talk about Marxism: everything for the state, everything with the state, and everything everything for the state. So everything, all the people, all the products and services, all the businesses are basically there for the service of the state. And there are so the Marxism is really contradictory, and the principles are based on slogans. Like this is where you hear like upper class, middle class, lower class. Those are all Marxist terms. Those are straight out of Karl Marx and Joseph Engels. There's the oppressed and the oppressor. We've heard that from from Black Lives Matter. Basically, anybody who is white is an oppressor. Anybody who's a person of color is oppressed. That's the take that the Black Lives Matter group organization took on Marxism. You have redistribution of wealth. You have victim and victimizer. So basically, Marxism believes that this is a zero-sum game, that if one person gets $1, then that dollar has been taken from somebody else. And the way that Marxism and Marxist dictatorships stay in control is they pit groups of individuals. They put groups of individuals in classes, and then they pit those groups against each other and make them compete for a finite piece of the pie that the government says that people can have. So they're basically doling out an allowance of freedom, an allowance of food, an allowance of income to the people, and all that power. The power of the state grows because what the state will say is they'll say, okay, well, this group over here is disadvantaged because this group has an unfair advantage over here. So the state has to move in to level the playing field. We've heard those types of terms in the past in liberalism as well. Well, government has to come in and level the playing field. That is a Marxist. That's a Marxist tenet. And the one thing that Marxism believes, and what the aspirational goal of Marxism is, that Marxism believes that human beings are perfectible if the right amount of government is applied. And so this is really the most destructive, and Marxism is the ultimate outcome as you go through the steps from socialism through communism, and you end up at Marxism, which is the ugly brother. So when we talk about socialism, we want to focus on that a little bit here. And really, socialism is a fantastic theory. In the book, it is fantastic in the textbook. Everyone shares. Those who have give to others. Those who need receive from those who have. And everybody has their needs met on paper. And it's great all up to the point of whenever human beings are actually introduced, because which is a bit of a problem.
What kind of problem could that be, Brad?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong there? What could go wrong?
It's not because human beings are bad, and there's an argument between whether human beings are bad or good, which is a whole nother topic.
That's another segment, isn't it? All right,
a whole nother segment. But it's human beings have initiative. They have desire. They have desire to be productive, to benefit from their industry, and benefit from the fruits of their labor. That's one thing that's when in the beginning of the Declaration of Independence, it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So what that is saying is every person is born, no matter where you're born, you have the same God-given unalienable rights. However, it's government's job to protect those rights. The government doesn't give rights, it protects those rights. So United States is one of the very, very few countries in world history that has existed to protect those human rights. But we do have that. That is in jeopardy here right now because of this rise in the attraction of socialism again. And again, it comes from ignorance. But the way that we've gotten here is, again, if you go back and you read Karl Marx and Joseph Engels, they talk about the first couple of things to do is you have to take over the schools, take over education, so they can control the narrative. You control what people have in their brains and how they evaluate problems, and you can mold their thinking. And then the second thing is you take away the church, because then human beings are tribal individuals, and we always want to attach ourselves to a group. So in in order, by separating the individual from the church, they're going to search for another, grand entity or grand construct to identify with. And what they are doing, where they end up, and because they're directed that this way, because the control of the education environment is that they end up worshiping government. And so now they look to government to be the provider. And so that just accretes more and more power to the central government. And people will then they will act in their against their own self-interests, and they will voluntarily move into bondage and be wards of the state. And a couple of examples of this, and how socialism doesn't work and how free enterprise does work, is you look back in our founding. You had the Jamestown colony that was founded in Virginia, and the Jamestown colony was founded. The settlers there, they said, okay, we've got this farmland, and here's our colony, and here's our jurisdiction that we're going to have. Now what we're going to do is we'll just share everything. All the fruits of our labor, the farmland, we'll just end up we'll just share everything, and it'll be utopia. Well, what ended up happening is you had people that they would go out and like, okay, well, that sounds good. I'm going to go out and I'm going to work this land. So I'm going to go out and work this land. I'm going to plant, and I'm going to cultivate, and I'm going to fertilize, and I'm going to be a caretaker of this land. I'm going to grow all this food. And, it started off pretty good. And then you had people that would sit there and were just like, hey, you know what? Oh, Bob over here, he's a pretty good farmer, and he's got a really, really good garden. And I'm not as good a farmer, and I don't know, I'm kind of tired today. So I think I'm going to let Bob farm, and I'm just going to kind of sit here. Maybe I'll go fish. Maybe I'll just go put my feet in the water. I'll go, I'm just going to go, sit under a tree for a while. Well, what you ended up having is you end up having people that continue to work hard, to have that work ethic that's human nature. And you had other people that tend to be a little more lazy. And so then they just let those other people work the land. Well, then all of a sudden, the people who are working the land looked around and thought, why am I busting my tail to feed everybody whenever Tom over here, let's call him Dale, whenever Dale over here, he's just sitting, he's sitting underneath this tree all day long.
Hey, but you said it's from those who have to those. What is it? From those who have to those that need?
It's from those according to their means to those according to their needs.
Right. So I have needs.
Well, you have needs, and you probably need to be self-sufficient and figure that out. So, but that's the whole thing. Bob's over here looking just like, why do I want to sit here and work why am I working so hard to feed my whole neighborhood? So then Bob stops working as hard. Well, what ended up happening is that the Jamestown colony nearly starved in their first winter, because nobody was there was willing to work the land.
There weren't enough people willing to provide for everyone else, right?
Absolutely, because there wasn't any incentive. Like, I'm going to work harder, but if the harder I work, the more I benefit somebody else. If I work hard, I want to benefit me.
So do you think that's happening? Do you think that's happening in our country?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it is, it is, but in a different way, in a bad way, because we have raised a narcissistic generation, and who is just accustomed to having things immediately, and unfortunately we've not, I guess my generation, and when I do talks to TPUSA chapters, it's at schools or to young Republicans groups, a lot of times I'll just open it up and say, hey, you know what? My generation failed you. We did not pass along the stories and the heritage and our culture and the lessons that were given to us. and we've done a really, really poor job. As such, we have a generation that is many in many instances unwilling to work, wants to have things given to them, and this is very, very dangerous because the government is more than happy to step in and be charitable with our taxpayer dollars and give it to these groups, and then they have a voting block, and so people are going to or we look at some of the just absolutely total lunacy of the policies of the left, and you think, like, how in the world do 40% of these people of the electorate still vote for this? Well, because that's their gravy train. They don't want to provide for themselves. But what ends up happening is they're happy being wards of the state, and so you contrast that mindset with what happened in the Plymouth colony. The Plymouth colony in Massachusetts were settled by the Puritans, came over from on the Mayflower, and they divided all the property up, and everybody had, hey, you know what, Dale, this is your property. These are your possessions. You go out and work the land yourself here. Brett, you do it over here. Can you do it over here? And everybody worked, and the harder that they worked and the better that they worked, the more that they were able to produce. Well, now they get the benefit of that, because now my hard work gives me more goods that I can consume myself. And then whenever I have excess goods, well, guess what? Now I can open up a store. Now I can sell. Hey, you know what? Dale's a great potato farmer. I can't grow potatoes, but you know what? I grow corn. So, hey, Dale, give me a bushel of potatoes. I'll give you a bushel of corn. How about we'll just trade that? So then you start having this mercantilism and this trade, and then that inspires the human spirit to go and produce more and to benefit themselves and to work harder, because the fruit they can prosper, and they benefit from the fruits of their labor. So it's that profit motive. And what ended up happening, the Plymouth colony had more food than what they could possibly consume, and that's where we had the first Thanksgiving. And they started sharing it with the Indian tribes, because they're just like, we're producing so much food, that we can't consume it all, and we're not want to have it sit here and rot. So
okay, we got to wind it up here, Brett.
So it's basically, this whole entire thing. It's a poison. It's a poison to the American system. It's a poison to human nature. It's a poison to the human spirit, and it is. I mean, socialism has led to the death of over 100 million people just in the 20th century, and I think that it's incumbent upon us to try to redeem ourselves and teach these lessons to future generations, so we don't go down this path that always ends exactly the same way.
Yeah,
death and destruction.
Starts out good, but it doesn't end good, does it? Yeah.
It does not. Never has.
Ken, we got any comments or questions?
I'm gonna put up a comment which I think is in direct conflict to one of Brett's statements, and see if we can address this a little bit. We got a comment from Jacob Borders, and he says, "You all are so out of touch. The younger generation had better access to information and can learn about the world outside of your little bubble." Every sentence I've heard has been. I won't go on. He had a big read about that. But, so Brett, how would you respond to that? We're all walking around with these little computers in our phones. Yeah, there's direct access to that. But you know what? To me, who constructs that information? And again, this goes back to our education system. If you've got somebody that's feeding you garbage, you're going to learn garbage. So what do you say?
Yeah, I just think, history's pretty clear, and the facts are pretty clear, and it is true. It is 100% true. Thank goodness that you look at the 18 to 25. I don't know what the current generation is, but 18 to 25-year-olds, they definitely have a different mindset than many of the millennials. And I'm not saying that all millennials are bad, because that's clearly not true, because they're all individuals. But as a, my parents came from the greatest generation, from post Depression, World War II era, and they were very effective at passing down values, work ethic to my generation, the baby boomers. Baby boomers were, kind of a little bit more concerned with themselves, as a characteristic of the whole entire generation. And just, I think it's pretty clear, did not just do a very good job at passing down, our values and our culture. And that's kind of where we are here right now. Why we are here right now, where we're, let people into our country that don't subscribe to our values. We, let the government grow to the point to where, it has become, a soft tyranny, at least anyway. And but it's very true that the younger generation, the next generation coming up, the 18 to 25-year-olds, are absolutely much more acutely aware that, hey, this, whatever this is, this 38 trillion dollars, this isn't right. It's not, this doesn't make sense that, we can lop healthy body parts off a boy and call him a girl, and lop healthy body parts off a girl and call him a boy, and take parts of his leg and make other male parts and call him a boy. Just like, that doesn't make any sense. And so that's why you're really seeing this revolution in the younger generation, which I think is fantastic, to where they are being more religious. They're going to church more. They are more conservative because they understand, they have a lot better understanding of human nature. And I think that just culturally, and again, this isn't like a blanket indictment of a whole entire generation, but that is what the evidence and the facts show, that are characteristic of baby boomers, the millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, and whatever this current generation is called. I don't know what the label is, but that's just kind of where the facts lie. Doesn't mean that there's not exceptions to that.
All right. We're going to have to call it in there. Brett, thank you very much, my man. I hope you can get to your next meeting. All right.
Appreciate it. I'm in good shape. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Thank you, Brett.
Yeah, Brett. Thank you.
Oh boy. Good conversation.
Yeah.
Well, Ken, I wanted to introduce these things at our last broadcast, but we had to revamp the broadcast because you were absent on that one.
Yep.
So we're going to do it again tonight. We're going to introduce to our viewers some new features that we have lined up to provide and present in 2026. So I've got 3 main features that we're going to show you tonight, bits and pieces of them, and to let you know what we got, what's going to be cooking for 2026. The first one that I want to talk about is our friend Maringo Mike. Everyone, I'm sure, is familiar with Maringo Mike. Maringo Mike has been with us, I don't know, how many years, Ken? Do you recall, have any idea?
This goes back quite a ways, Dale. I'd have to say, gosh.
I'd say at least maybe 4 years or so.
4 or 5 easily, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Maringo Mike's been with us. And so he's still with us. He's going to still be with us in 2026, but he's had some changes. He's gone through some changes, hasn't he, Ken.
Like us all, we all seem to run into things that produce change, and we'll let Marengo, I guess, really describe that a little better. As he was born, as I think, just to give a little history on that, we decided to bring Marengo Mike on as a little bit of levity in the programming, and so he's a character, he's a cartoon character, and he was born in a cave. That's who got his name, Marengo, the Marengo Caves out of southern Indiana.
That's right. That's right.
So he was born with a particular, I'll say, personality in his voice, and I think he's been listening to a few people that wanted to see if they could help him. So
yeah, so he took some steps over the holidays, and let's hear what he has to say here.
Angle Mike here with some exciting news. The hands of a skilled surgeon have fixed the raspy voice I was born with, so what do you think? I can't wait to begin a new year with my new voice to continue building the grassroots army for Convention of States.
well, I think they even gave him a few new dance steps. I don't know.
Yeah, he seems to be able to do a little bit more, a little more animation, and I think he's. But of course, obviously, the big change is the change in his voice.
In his voice,
and,
yeah.
And so, yeah, I think Marengo Mike's going to be a lot of fun with us in the coming year. So, okay. The next feature that I want to introduce to you is a feature we call Timeless Truths. And we want to introduce you to the young lady that is going to be featured on Timeless Truths. Her name is Elizabeth. And I think we'll probably be having a segment on Timeless Truths every week, Ken, if everything's going right. And I do want to mention Elizabeth is the creation of one of our contributors out of Idaho, Ken Whaley. And we want to give Ken full credit for creating Elizabeth. So let's listen to Elizabeth here on Timeless Truths.
A convention of states is not a rewrite of the Constitution, and it is not, and cannot, become a new Constitution. It's simply a meeting, nothing more, where state legislatures propose amendments under rules the states have established and that they control. And always remember that every proposed amendment still faces the same final test, ratification by at least 38 of the 50 states. The founders designed that to be a high bar on purpose. If we, the people, don't like what comes out, and unless at least 38 states ratify it, any proposed amendment dies quietly. So the real question isn't whether everything will be rewritten. That's a virtual impossibility. The real question is whether we trust the states and the people more than we trust the federal government.
Interesting take, for sure.
Yes. Obviously, if you're not educated to some degree on AI, you'll know that Elizabeth is not real. That's not a real person. But she looks real, doesn't she, Ken?
She does real. Yep.
Isn't
Amazing
that
technology.
amazing? Isn't that amazing? Yes. And like I said, our contributor, Ken Whaley, has created her. And I think she's going to serve a good purpose for us. So Elizabeth will be coming on probably weekly to provide us another timeless truth. So we want to welcome Elizabeth to our program. All right, Ken, the final new feature that we want to introduce to everyone is a feature called Lions Lyrics. Now, we need to explain this a little bit. This is a series that's we're probably going to have a segment on this maybe once a month. And this is a creation by also utilizing AI, I might mention, created by Rick and Susan Lyon. Rick used to be our event coordinator for the state of Indiana. He's since moved on, but his wife, Susan, still is the editor for our newsletter called The Finish Line. So both of them have gotten into writing poetry, writing poems. And so what they have done is they've taken their poems and they've, through the use of AI, have set those lyrics to music. I guess I'm explaining that the best I can here, Ken, unless I'm missing something here, right?
No, they take the poems that they write and they just feed them into a program that puts them to music, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to play their first installment here. It's a little long. It's about 4 minutes. So bear with us here. I do want them to kind of shorten these up a bit, Ken, if we in the future. But they've created their first installment here on Lions Lyrics called Heavens Above. And I think they did a very, very good job. So let's listen to this.
From the heavens above, a light does shine, a call to love, a dream divine, where justice flows like a mighty stream, and freedom reigns in the heart of the dream. O God of all, your truth we seek, to bind the strong, uplift the weak. God and country hand in hand, a brotherhood across the land. With love and truth we rise as one, a brighter world thy will be done. The prophet spoke of a kingdom near, where love casts out all hate and fear, a land where hearts in service meet, and every soul finds life complete. O Spirit of truth, our guide, our flame, we march as one in thy holy name. God and country hand in hand, a brotherhood across the land. With love and truth we rise as one, a brighter world thy will be done. No chosen few, no walls divide, for all are one in the Father's eyes. Let nations bow to the Most High's plan, a world of peace, united man. Dr. Kingstream, a beacon bright, a call to walk in eternal light, to see the day when all are free, and live as one in harmony. O God of love, your kingdom come, on earth as in your heavenly home.
Yeah, you're muted, Dale.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know whether you caught the reference to Martin Luther in that song, but the timing of that, obviously, with the celebration coming up on January 19th, is
Okay.
kind of a reference that was in there. Just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Yeah, I did not catch that. No.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. It's very, very good. I think we're going to really enjoy. Once again, the lyrics were created by Rick and Susan. So very talented folks. Very talented. All right. Those are the new features for 2026, and hope you enjoy those. Look forward to bringing those to you. Obviously, we're going to try our best to provide you the best content that we can, and we've eliminated certain pieces of our broadcasts that we've done for years in order to create more time for more meaningful content. So that's what we're trying to do. All right. Well, Kent, let's move on to another of, this is not a new feature. This is a feature that we've been doing for some time now. This is Dave's Daily Dose. And we didn't get his newest ones in time. So this one's a bit outdated a little bit. It's about Iran. Of course, a lot has transpired since David Punt, who does Dave's Daily Dose, created this. So anyway, let's go ahead and play this, and hope everyone enjoys this. Is Iran in trouble?
Will Iran's current government make it much further into the new year? Happy New Year, by the way. Videos and reports are coming out of Iran that either represent what's going on or make it look like what's going on. The Western Journal, Reuters, and the BBC have been pumping out stories and videos of people marching, people yelling, people screaming, people running, and nary a security force to be seen in the videos. One story from the BBC today insists that a 21-year-old fighter linking to Iran's Revolutionary Guard was killed in the city of Kudasht, and 13 coppers were injured. But so far, the videos look like Lake Street in Minneapolis circa 2020. Is there an Iranian George Floyd on the scene? This is Dave's Daily Dose on BrokenRoadRadio.com. I'm David Allen Punt. Like always, it's difficult to know for sure what's going on in the rest of the world, just like it's difficult to know what happens in a local school board meeting, unless you were there, and who has the time and energy to sit through one of those long and tedious sessions. Western Journal, Reuters, and BBC are quoting a FARS news agency as semi-official, whatever that means. Another news agency, Tasnim, was described as affiliated to the Iranian Republican Guard. They say 20 protesters were arrested in Kudasht last night, and the videos show people marching, but no apparent location. Others show people yelling, a large fire burning in the background. Another shows protesters, all masked, tearing down a large metal gate, but no exposition about where the gate was, what it was blocking, which side it was on, or if it was an innocent bystander gate. This could be the beginning of the end for the Iranian mullahs, or people could be rounded up and shot, and life would return to normal by the end of the week. Happily, it's at a distance, and none of the stories mention Trump so far. I'm David Allen Punt.
Well, I say that's a few weeks old. A lot going on in Iran. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
A lot since David created that that series on Dave's Daily Dose. But
A little bit of desperation going on, it seems.
yeah, I'll tell you, it's cooking all over the world. I'll tell you, something's going on all over the world.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things going on, I asked Gary Harbaugh to give us a quick update on Doge. Of course, the update is that they've shut it down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I hated to see this happen, but I guess this is what happens in Washington, D.C. So let's, Gary recorded an update on Doge for us. So let's hear what Gary has to say here, Ken.
Hi, it's Gary with Convention of States. We're going to do an update on Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. As you can see, the website, it's still there and it's still live. But realistically, even though Doge had a noble goal and was a good thing, it was probably doomed from the beginning to fail because spending really depends on Congress. Doge targeted waste and fraud and found some, limited some spending. But when you look at the entire federal budget, it was like trying to drain the Great Lakes with a bucket. There's just too much spending. And for Congress, every dollar of spending goes to some constituency of members of Congress, and those constituencies will fight hard to keep that spending. And your congressman and every congressman knows that there's a constituency for every dollar of spending, and that it's going to be tough to really make any significant cuts. One of the things that let's take a look at, for the fiscal year ending in October, spending was actually up 18% for the year. Now, Donald Trump wasn't president for part of that fiscal year that ended in October, but nevertheless, spending was up 18% over the prior year. And so what did Doge really do? Hard to say. Let's look at the month of October. The revenue was actually up by 23%. Spending was up something like 18%. And the deficit for the month of October, that 1 month, was the highest ever recorded for an October. So we've started the new fiscal year in record deficit area. The biggest reason for the huge deficit is interest on the federal debt. It has surged because the debt is over $38 trillion. Something like 24 cents of every dollar of spending goes to pay the interest on the federal debt. And that's not going to change because the debt is going to grow, even though we got a little bit of lowering of interest rates this week. And the president's been jawboning for lower interest rates. A great reason to lower interest rates from the government's perspective is that it owes enormous amount of debt, and that interest that they pay is set based on what the Fed does with interest rates. Elon Musk, after the end of Doge, one of the things he said was if he had to do over again, he probably wouldn't do it because of all of the attacks on Tesla. And it turned him from a darling of the left into an enemy of the left. And they certainly let him know that. He also came out and said basically the government is unfixable. And the reason it's unfixable is that there's just the enormity of what goes on is incomprehensible to any one person. And unless there is structural change, we're not going to fix the federal government. Doge is still there, but honestly, it did not achieve its goals. And one of the reasons that you could see is, as we saw recently in Minnesota, with this enormous amount of fraud and just theft of government money in these child nutrition programs and other programs, some people could believe could reach as high as $8 billion. Anytime you have a pot of money from the federal government, it attracts people who are with nefarious intent the way, flies are drawn to honey at a picnic. You got these enormous pots of money. It draws people who are scheming and conniving. How can they get that money stolen and put in their pocket and brought into their own hands? And so, again, without some kind of limits on Congress's ability to spend money, they are never going to stop. We've got to have a convention of the states in order to put limits on federal spending, limits on what the federal government does. If you limit spending, then Congress will have to set priorities and say, this is important, has to be spent, like the Department of Defense. Other things, they'll say, okay, we just can't do that because we are limited in our spending. With the ability to borrow and print unlimited amounts of money, there is no way to limit spending. And that's what Elon Musk came to find out, that even though you identify waste and fraud, it's not going to stop, because even a government agency such as DOGE, which was part of the federal government, it could not stop it. So that's where we are. We've got to put limits on federal spending through an Article 5 convention. Otherwise, this is just going to go on forever. DOGE was a noble experiment, but it's really an experiment that flopped and did not succeed in its large.
Well, Dale, we had an interesting comment added from our editor of the Finish Line. So I'm going to post that
really?
up here. Little bit of something I didn't know. Maybe you aren't aware of either. But she says Representative Tim Burkett of Kentucky has been chosen as the chairman of the DOGE committee. So maybe there's hope after all.
Oh, good.
We'll have to do a little follow up on that. Have Gary chase that one down.
Yeah. Excellent.
Thank you, Susan. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right. Well, we've introduced Maringo Mike and his changes for 2026. So I want to play this real quickly here. So we'll try, I think, and make it a point to get this reminder in earlier in the broadcast starting next week. But this is the new Maringo Mike, and a reminder to subscribe to our broadcast. So,
Programs, please follow us and be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you'll always know when we're live. Now, back to the show.
He kept that one nice and short and sweet, didn't he?
he did. He made that very short, short. Yes, he did. So
Yeah,
anyway.
he said the pay scale wasn't keeping up with the length of his programming. So
He must have been talking to you. He must have been, you had something to do with that, I'm sure. Well, I've mentioned the COS perspective here that we try to imply. I just want to remind everyone that what we're trying to do here on COS today is we're trying to address today's issues through the COS perspective. And last week I played a little PowerPoint that I did to explain what the COS perspective is. I don't know why that keeps going off, Ken.
no,
But and we'll do that once a month or so to remind everybody what the COS perspective really is. So just wanted to get that on there. All right.
Sounds
Okay. Once again, I also want to remind everyone, if you want to try and find our broadcast, the easiest way is to go to our YouTube channel, American Patriots for Convention of States. Don't search on COS today. Find our YouTube channel, American Patriots for Convention of States, and there you'll find the current broadcast as well as past broadcasts and other information. So YouTube channel, American Patriots for Convention of States. That's where to find us.
and we put a link in the chat for that, Dale.
Okay, good. Also want to remind everyone that our email address, if you have any question or comment about our broadcast, feel free to drop us an email. Raise your voice, COS@gmail.com. Raise your voice, COS@gmail.com. Well, Ken, any other comments or questions or anything tonight?
No, I think we had a
Before we
pretty
close out,
active one tonight, but yeah, nothing further than the last update from Susan there.
yeah, okay, all right. Well, Ken, glad to have you back on, and
Good to be back.
I understand you caught a little cold or something on the plane, right?
Yeah, got myself a little cold, a little cough. I'm gonna see the doc tomorrow, but that's
Yeah.
what happens when you venture out of state. You never know what you're gonna pick up.
You went to Texas, right?
Went to Dallas, Texas. I
Yeah.
think probably on one of those flights. I don't know. Probably got something.
Did you have good connections or any delays or anything?
No, everything went really smooth. Yeah, no, it went
Good,
really smooth.
good.
Yep. So it all went real well.
Well, good. Boy, it's been a long time since I've been on an airplane. I can't remember the last time, quite honestly.
Been a while for myself. Yeah, it's and actually the whole process. The last time I think I was on, I think the process was a whole lot. I don't know what word to use for it, but it seemed a lot lengthier and a whole lot more. I don't know. This time through, I didn't have to take my shoes off. I didn't have to do a lot of stuff. Of course, I was traveling with camera equipment, so you're always worried what they're thinking about this and that. But yeah, it was really smooth all the way through that whole process and boarding and everything. So it went really well.
Well, good. All right, Ken, let's wrap things up with Maringo Mike here, the new Maringo Mike. And everyone, have a good evening. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you next week on the 19th.
Mike here with a reminder of the importance of this year as we continue to grow the grassroots army of volunteers and the mission of using the Constitution to fix the ills of our government. Use the QR code if you haven't signed the petition and consider using your talents to become an active volunteer. Thank you and God bless.